Hello, one and all. Stu Passmore here. It is Sunday morning, 10 o'clock. Church bells are ringing, and as usual, I am not in attendance of any of these corporate churches. We really don't live in a conservative society anymore. What I mean by that is the old traditional ways of having a big family, living in the suburbs, and putting your whole family nicely dressed and going to church is not really the norm anymore. All my neighbors used to do that, go to church, and all my family, they're still involved in stuff like that, but I kind of wasn't, and my family wasn't either. We were kind of like the black sheep on the block. I did end up going a couple times. You get all dressed up, and your neighbors are older, so you want to hang out with them because they're older and you see them as cooler. So you go a couple times, and at the end of it, you're thinking like, what did I get all dressed up and do that for? Like, all I wanted to do was play hockey anyways, and that's just kind of what you stick doing the next weekends, because, you know, there's really nothing at these corporate churches that you can't learn from any books. You don't need a church to practice your spirituality. You don't need a Freemasonic temple to practice and study the symbolism and the theory of Freemasonry. So I think these corporate churches are really doing a lot more harm than good, but I know there are a lot of benefits. Like, there's a lot of brotherly love there. There's a lot of people that will help you out, and it always gives families and people something to do, especially when our society is super divided. I'm kind of mixed on this whole divided society thing. I think it's great that we have a divided society, as long as we can still talk about issues freely. We just can't really do it on certain platforms, like anything Google controls. Google is just one of the worst fucking companies in the entire world. Facebook especially. Did you know that Facebook hires under 10,000 people worldwide? That is a disgrace. I mean, Tim Hortons hires at least that in probably just Toronto alone. So who's really creating jobs? Who's really creating economic opportunities out there? It's not Facebook. It's not Instagram. They're just generating ad revenue for, a lot of other vulture companies that are pushing stuff like germ theory, how rights come from government. This is one of the things that I'm really worried about with people that go to church. Now, the second I see that somebody is seeking an outside savior, I immediately get worried about them, because Christianity and Judaism are under such attack now, and I think the reason is that the true message of the Judeo-Christian traditions is that rights are inherent to nature. They are not given to you by government. They are not given to you by the church. Now, if you go to any of these corporate churches right now, Sunday morning style thing, they're not going to teach you that. They're going to teach you that, you gotta pay your tithes. You got to, sacrifice for the greater good. They're not going to teach you that the greatest good is everyone having individual rights. The dictators around the world, like Trudeau, Biden, Daniel Andrews, while they are traitors to their countries, they are not really the core problem. The core problem is the general public. Let me explain. I am a corporation, you are a corporation, and our governments are corporations. We don't really have governments anymore. We just live in a commercial system where there are offers and you can accept or not accept, and there's a couple things that you have to do. You have to non-consent to something if you don't want to do it. For example, these COVID rules, I didn't follow any of them. I didn't have any problems from government, from police, from military. The only problems I had were from the general public who know nothing about law. Talk to your friends and family about what they know about our legal system. You'll find very quickly they know literally nothing. What I just explained about how you're a corporation and how governments are corporations, if you think most people know that and can explain that to other people, you're dreaming. Most people don't know that whatsoever. My entire journey of discovering the truth, it goes back a long way, but it really started ramping up with the legal fraud. And this started with Cal Molinay. He was one of the libertarian supporters, where, he would just always have a perfect answer to someone who would throw up any of this statist stuff, like why we need the state, why we need price controls, why we need strong unions and stuff like that. But people like Cal Molinay eventually led me to Dean Clifford's work, and Dean Clifford is an absolute genius. We're very lucky to have these people on our side of the fence, because if they were on the other side and they were in the legal system and trying to mind control people into thinking that, you know, these laws actually don't have any power over you whatsoever. It's all based on your consent. You have to consent to everything they do. Yes, there is a criminal element involved in the legal system, and yes, it has been used during COVID, but that's no reason to throw away the entire process. Like, there are benefits that are clear that you can use. Now, you're not going to solve all the world's problems by, you know, getting out of a ticket or, you know, setting a fee schedule for yourself so you can't really be messed around with. But always understand that your consent is required in our current legal system. So, you know, again, like, I went 2.5 years not following anything, and not even a phone call, not a knock on the door, nothing, no tickets. And I hope it stays that way, because, you know, at the start, I really wanted to get tickets, and then I could just, like, show off my stuff and then post it online. But that's kind of in bad faith. I feel like it's just everyone's individual responsibility to learn this stuff, and then hopefully start teaching other people, because if you don't know your own rights and where rights come from, you're not going to be able to respect the rights of other people. And this is why we live in a society where everyone is just gung-ho about sacrificing their all their rights. Right now, they're really focusing on these self-defense rights, but they think that they can sacrifice their rights and something in the greater good of the people will somehow improve, which is a logical fallacy. It's not true. The greatest good is everyone having their individual rights and understanding natural law to the best of their ability and living in harmony with it. I'm not talking like I'm some Judas or anything, like I'm a perfect person. I make tons of mistakes. I always have to look in the mirror and say, like, you know, you got to work on this, you got to work on that, and it's a grind, it's a daily process. I also want to give credit to a lot of people that are starting to wake up, because if you really think about it, they've been working on us since the day we were born, really. Like, the propaganda is just absolutely out of control. So I really want to give credit to people who are putting the word out, people who are learning, people who are listening, reading, and contributing to the truth. The closer we get to the truth, the better our world's going to be. That's the only real way to unlock freedom. My strategy for the summer is to really start exposing germ theory, because once people understand that, they can start to look at other things where they have been deceived in their life, whether it be the legal system, how government's not really there to protect you, and what taxation really is, you know, your self-defense rights, etc., etc. You can go all the way down the line, but now is a great opportunity to put something together and completely obliterate this germ theory lie. Start sharing the work of Stefan Lanka. The Humanly podcast by Daniel Roites has been getting a lot of play in the car and on the MP3. Yes, I still have an MP3 player. It's lightweight, it just clips onto your stuff, and it's like 8 gigs. You can always just wipe everything and put some new stuff on there if you get sick of it. But yeah, we really have to use this opportunity while we're not in lockdown, and they're working on stuff to start whittling away your rights. So we got to start working on stuff, and we got to not only stop paying attention to them, but we have to either walk away from them. We have to walk away from them, and I really want to see these systems go where they belong, which is in the garbage. Like, if your first step is in the wrong direction, you know, you're just not going to get to where you need to go. So that's just today's video. Thanks for joining me again. Subscribe, like, peace out.